Okay, first of all, I want you guys to know what an arm workout that was. I had to hold up 9 Pat McGrath Mothership palettes. And if you've never owned a Mothership before, they're pretty freaking heavy. So that was quite the arm workout. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the thumbnail. Now, without further blabbering, let's get into my rankings of my 9 Mothership eyeshadow palettes. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. My name is Karen Harris. I love to film tan girl friendly makeup videos here on YouTube. When I first got on YouTube, I had the hardest time finding eyeshadow palette videos from somebody with my skin tone, so I decided to take matters into my own hands and start up a YouTube channel. So if that sounds interesting to you, highly recommend subscribing, turning on that bell, because I do post quite often. And without further blabbering, let's get into it. So this video has been highly requested for a long time, and I've been so anxious about filming it. And then every time I finally feel like I've gathered my thoughts, she launches a new palette, and we finally hit 9 Mothership palettes. And I'm like, Karen, stop messing around, just sit down, film the rankings video, and if you change your mind or another Mothership comes out, you can update the video. Plus, it's the holiday season, so there's so many good sales with Pat McGrath coming up and already in progress, because as I'm filming this, I know she's having a 30% off sale on her website, which is an awesome deal. There's a Sephora sale coming up. I don't know if these sales are going to be active because I am pre-filming just in preparation for baby Harris's arrival. So I am pre-filming this video, but if there's any current sales happening with the Pat McGrath palettes, I will link it down below for you guys. That'll probably be an affiliate link. So thank you in advance for shopping through my links, because I will make a small commission. But I just want to have this video handy on my channel, because every time there's a sale, you guys reach out in DMs and ask me, Karen, which one should I get? Should I get this one or that one? Should I get this or that? And I'm always like, oh my gosh, can I say both? Can I say this one? Can I say that one? And so I figured this will be kind of helpful to you guys trying to make that decision. I will give you guys my reasoning for ranking everything the way I did, but obviously this is just my opinion. Everyone has their own opinion. I will timestamp the video in case you want to skip this long intro. I do apologize. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So in the 9th spot of my ranking video, if you guys have been following me, you're not going to be surprised that this is in the last place. But honestly, this is the most disappointing to me as far as color story goes. So this is the Divine Rose original palette, and it is a neutral palette. This is Mothership 7. I was able to borrow a label maker from my friend, and so I actually labeled all my palettes, because they don't really say which one it is when you look at them, so it's kind of a pain in the butt. But this is what the palette looks like, and honestly, this is a lot of people's favorite palette, and I think the reason it's a lot of people's favorite is because it's a neutral palette, and it's such a great palette for every day. But for me, when I'm reaching for a Pat McGrath palette, it's because I want like those special shades, those fun shimmers and colors. So that's why it's ranking in the last spot for me. But I understand why people buy this palette, because if you're going to spend $125 on an eyeshadow palette, you probably want it to be something you can use all the time. And obviously, most people don't have an eyeshadow palette collection like mine. So I totally get why this palette is popular. But I also hope that you understand why I'm ranking it in the 9th spot. Also, do keep in mind, none of these palettes are bad. I love the Pat McGrath eyeshadow formula across the board. I've never had a bad experience as far as formulas with patchiness or not being opaque or easy to apply. I'm just basically ranking these based off of my preference and just which color story really speaks to me. So I just want to make that abundantly clear that just because I'm ranking these, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the 9th place palette. It's just I'm ranking them based off of my favorite color story at this moment in time. Okay, so in 8th place is this palette, and this is the Decadence palette. So this launched originally as a limited edition palette, and this palette is the only palette from her that is all shimmers as far as the Motherships go. So it launched as a limited edition palette, then it went away. Then she launched it with her Star Wars collection in like gold packaging. And now I feel like it's back and it's been available on her website for quite some time. So I'm not quite sure as far as the limited edition aspect of this. I am happy though that people can still get it, because I think people were like buying these and selling them for way more than what they were worth on like eBay and stuff like that. So I'd rather you just be able to get it from Pat McGrath. But this is a beautiful palette. Again, the reason I don't love this one is because it was like limited edition. It wasn't limited. It was like a whole thing. And there's no special shades in this palette. It's just her metallics. So they are nice, beautiful palette, but I really think that this is not one that people would reach for often enough. I know some people are so talented and they can do beautiful all shimmer looks, and that's great, but I feel like the versatility of this palette is not quite there, so that's why I'm ranking it at number 8. Okay, so the next 3 palettes are all the original palettes, and that's kind of why I'm ranking them towards the end here, and some of the newer palettes are higher up. It's because I feel like at the time when they launched, if I had done a rankings video, obviously they would have been higher up in the selection, but I feel like these palettes have been around for so long, and I feel like some of the newer color stories are a little bit more diverse. So in the 7th spot, we have this guy. This is Mothership 1 Subliminal, and this is what it looks like. This is like her most cool tone palette as far as the 6 shadows in the front here. And also, just so you guys know, when she originally launched her first 3 palettes, they all launched together and nobody really knew what Pat McGrath was. Like, she's definitely more well known now, but when I bought these palettes at $125 when they originally launched, I was like, who is this lady? Why are her palettes so expensive? I really hope I don't hate these. And it was also before she was carried at Sephora, so I was really taking a risk here. But my friend Kat from Rent the Runway, I think that's her name of her channel, I'll link her down below. She was such a fan of these palettes, and I still remember her and I going back and forth about which ones we were gonna buy and all of the things, and she's like such a Pat McGrath collector. So if you want to follow somebody that like really focuses on Pat McGrath, I would recommend. She hasn't posted in a while, but every once in a while she does come back to YouTube, so she might have some older videos that could still be helpful to you guys if you're looking for information. But anyway, she did include this black shade in all of the palettes, which was kind of annoying because if you bought all 3, that black shade was in every palette. And yeah, these shades are definitely like not my vibe, but just these 3, super beautiful. I think it would be fun if she did like a quad someday, or maybe even did the special shades in like one palette for like an anniversary collection. That could be really cool, because yeah, I don't really care for these colors, so that's why I'm ranking it in the 7th spot. Okay, so in 6th place I have another original. This is the Subversive, so this is Mothership 3, and the reason I am ranking this lower again is because it's one of the original 3 palettes that launched, so I feel like I'm reaching for it less and less. But if this color story appeals to you, it is a beautiful palette, and this chartreuse shade is absolutely stunning. I am going to try and do swatches of all the palettes so I can insert them while I'm talking, but I haven't done that yet, and honestly, I'm not looking forward to swatching 9 eyeshadow palettes, but I'm going to try and do it because I think it'll really help you guys to see the swatches as well while you're making your decision of which one to take or buy in the future. This does have some beautiful special shades, and again, I love her mattes. These mattes are more appealing to me compared to the one I just showed you that I ranked in the 7th spot, but I do love these special shades. I think they are still very fun colors if you like this color story. So in the 5th place, I'm ranking number 2, which is Sublime, and I will say it's because this green shade is a little bit more unique compared to some of the special shades that were in the one that I ranked in 6th place. I feel like she's done quite a few of those like purpley blue shades in some of her newer palettes, so I feel like this color is kind of a repetitive color, whereas the special shades in this palette, I don't feel like she has replicated as much, so I think that gives it a little bit of an edge if you guys are trying to curate how many Pat McGrath palettes you have in your collection. For me, you know, I'm gonna buy every single one because I do collect these palettes and they're very special to me. So yeah, that's why I'm ranking this in 6th place. Okay, now we're getting into the like newer palettes. So everything is gonna be more familiar, popular palettes in my humble opinion. So I'm a little bit shook at the top 4, but in 4th place is Divine Rose 2, and this one I feel like when it launched broke the internet because she did offer it in this limited edition packaging. I bought it in the rose gold because I thought it was beautiful. I wish it would do this packaging with some of her newer palettes just because it does make it easier to spot them and you don't have to like label them and stuff. But either which way, this is the one where she did the multi-chrome shade, so that's VR Extraterrestrial. Other than that though, I don't feel like this palette is that special, which is why I'm ranking it in 4th place. The top 3 I feel like I really love because they have some really fun, unique color stories. So that's why I'm ranking that at number 4. In 3rd place is Midnight Sun. I feel like I just love this palette so much. It's like a grungy palette. It has that beautiful metallic olive green and some beautiful special shades. And of course, I love the mattes that are in this palette as well because you guys know I love a good terracotta shade to throw in my crease at any time. I love that she included a dark matte brown shade that can go in the crease. So this one is tan girl friendly to me, and I love that. So usually most palettes, it's like the crease shade is too light, and so I love that she gave us options. These special shades are gorgeous in all the palettes I chose for my top 3, so you can decide like if one appeals to you more than the other. The top 3 is really just like my top 1 but I have such a hard time ranking. You guys know this, it literally gives me anxiety. So I am ranking Mothership 6 Midnight Sun as my 3rd palette from Pat McGrath. So top 2, any guesses? I am gonna rank the Bronze Seduction palette in the 2nd spot, and this is again because I love how unique the special shades are. This red shade is such a cool color. And a few years ago, like I loved wearing red eyeshadow. Like now I'm like full blown green alien slut convert. So I wear a lot of green eyeshadow, but this red eyeshadow is so beautiful. This rose gold shade is stunning. So if you want to do like a neutral eye, you can, but if you want to do something like really special, you can go into the special shades in this palette and get some like fun pops of green and do something a little bit extra. But I love Bronze Seduction. It's one of my favorites, and I think it can go neutral or you can really amp it up. So that's why I would suggest Bronze Seduction as a neutral palette versus Divine Rose, because I feel like Divine Rose is so boring. But this one, you can do some neutral looks if you're scared to do too much color, but then if you really want to take it up a notch, you can pair those special shades on top and you'll have an out of this world look. Okay, so shockingly, the newest palette is my number 1 palette, and honestly, I'm like asking myself, like, are you sure? Are you sure? And I am sure. I really like this. I think this is such a fun palette because again, the mattes are so pretty. You can use these as cheek shades if you want to do like a blush with them. You can use this shade as a highlighter, and of course the special shades are so stunning. This shade, which is Utopian something, I can't remember, is such a pretty like lilac blue color, and this shade, of course, like the 2 special shades are so fun when you want to like use them as a topper on a eye look. I just think like this palette was so unexpected. I didn't think it was gonna ever end up being my favorite, but I just love it. I think it's such a fresh take on Pat McGrath and her style, and if you ever need inspiration on how to use a Pat McGrath palette, I highly recommend going to her Instagram because she has so many looks. She has so many professional artists that work for her, and they do tutorials all the time when she comes out with new palettes and things like that. So I'm ranking that one as my number 1 Pat McGrath palette. Trust me, I know you guys are probably as surprised as I am, but I did sit here, look at all the palettes, and that is the conclusion I came to. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what is your favorite Pat McGrath palette. I did just include these ones because I know most of these are always in stock, whereas I do have some of her other palettes that are limited edition. I have her holiday palettes, you can't buy them anymore. I have some of her quads that are no longer available, so I just wanted to include her core line of the Motherships because every time there's a Pat McGrath sale, you guys ask me which one's my favorite. So As soon as Mothership 10 comes out, I will update this video, but for now, these are all my thoughts. These are my favorite Pat McGrath palettes in order. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video soon. Bye, guys!